Dear students, in today's lecture, we will talk about Boolean functions. We have seen the Huntington postulates and the theorems emerging out of it in the previous lecture. Let us take a few more examples which are based on De Morgan's theorem. For example, I am given a function f1 which is x dash yz dash plus x dash y dash z, and I want to complement this function, which means I want to complement the entire function. So De Morgan's theorem says that I'll have to complement the individual terms and change the or function to and to or. So over here it was or. So what I'll do is I'll take this x dash y z dash, this whole dash, and this or will be converted to and the other term x dash y dash z will also be complemented. This again, since this is whole dash still, so what I'll do is I'll complement this each term over here and I'll convert this and into or. So it will be x double dash, which will be x. One of the theorem says x double dash will be x, and now this and will be or, and this y will become dash or z double dash, which is z. So this will be this part, and this part will be x double dash, which will be x only, plus y double dash, which will be y only, and z dash will be there. So the complement of this given function using De Morgan's theorem will be like this. Take another example. Suppose f2 dash is what we're trying to find out, where x2 is this part. So in this part, each individual term, this is one individual term x dash, and since this x was ANDed with this entire term, so that is why an OR would come, and this entire term will be complemented y dash z dash plus yz whole dash. Now again this x dash will remain as it is because this is a single variable anyway, plus now this needs to be complemented, so each individual term would be complemented. So it will be y dash z dash whole dash dot yz dash. Again there will be one more step wherein x dash will remain as it is, plus now this will be applied using De Morgan's theorem. So y double dash will be y plus z double dash will be z. Again this and remains the same, and y dash plus z dash, because they were both of them uncomplemented, so that is why both of them will be complemented. So if I am given f2 as this function, so f2 bar or f2 dash, which is the dash of the entire function, the result will be this. Now, a simpler procedure for deriving the complement of a function is to take the dual of the function and complement each literal. That is another way. If you do not want to apply De Morgan's theorem in a straightforward way, which is also easy, but this is one of the alternative ways that you must know. For deriving the complement of function is to take the dual of the function and complement each literal. Remember duality, which says that or will be changed to and will be changed to or, 1 will be changed to 0 and 0 will be changed to 1. It says find out the dual of the function and then complement each literal. This method follows from the generalized De Morgan's theorem. Remember that dual of a function is obtained from the interchange of and or operators and ones and zeros, as I said just now. Now, using this method, find the complement of the function f1 and f2 of this particular example by taking their duals and complementing each literal. I am trying to do the same thing using the duality method. So f1 is given as x dash y z dash plus x dash y dash z. The dual of f1 would be x dash plus y plus z dash, because the dual requires just changing ands to or, and this or to and. So x dash y dash plus z. Now complement each literal. When I complement each literal, x double dash will become x, y dash will be y dash, z double dash will be z, x double dash will be x, y double dash will be y, and z dash. So this will be the bar of it, which is the same as we found out over here. This one. This one. The other part, find out the dual of f2 first. If f2 is this, which we have already taken here, so f2 is this. In fact, we are taking the same example so that we can compare that the results are going to be the same whether we go by De Morgan's theorem directly, or we go by the finding out the dual and complementing each equal. So let us first write down its dual. So the dual of x2 would be x plus, because this and will become plus, or, and this y dash plus z dash, they will become, this dot will become plus, and this or will become and y plus z. Now complement each part, so it will be x dash plus y double dash will be y plus z double dash will be z, y dash will be there and z dash will be there, which is the same as we found out here, and that is f2 bar. So that is the alternate way of finding out the complement of a given function. Either apply De Morgan's theorem directly or find out the dual and complement each value. So this is a very useful, finding out the complementation is a very useful thing that we need to do quite often. So it is better you practice it. Now coming to min terms and max terms. Suppose I am talking about three variables. So these are the possible combinations for the three variables. Total possible combinations will be 2 to the power 3, which is 8. So 0 to 7 is the variation, which is the 8 variations. Now I can write this particular term as x dash, y dash, z dash, and I call it as the min term 0. Similarly, 0, 0, 1 would be x dash, y dash, z. Wherever I've got a 0, I'll place it as dash, and wherever I've got a 1, I'll place it as it is, the true value. So this will be min term m1. Likewise, 0, 1, 0 would be x dash, y, z dash, m2. This will be x dash, y, z, which is m3, and so on. X, y, z will be m7, right? Because they're all one, so no complement here, to all be exponents. So these are said to be the min terms of a three variable function. Likewise, I can write the max terms also, but in the max terms I'll be writing, just as in the case of min terms I was writing using anding, here I'll write using oring. Now, in this case, in the case of max terms, I am going to take zeros as true values and ones as complements. So that is why you see x plus y plus z, and I'll call it as the max term 0. 0, 0, 1, x plus y plus z dash. 1 will be complemented when I'm writing it in the form of an OR term. Just as this was the AND term, this is the OR term. So m1. Similarly, 0, 1, 0, it will be x plus y dash plus z. This is max term 2, and so on. Finally, when you arrive at 1, 1, 1, then it is x dash plus y dash plus z dash, which is the max term 7. So with a three variable function, I can have 8 minterms and correspondingly 8 max terms. Now a function can be written in these forms: sum of minterms, which is also alternately called canonical sum of product form. For example, when I say a function of three variables is summation of 1, 3, 6, 7, that means I've got a function f which has got a 1, which has got a 0 here and a 1 here, because the min term 1, 1 means I'm talking about m1, small m1. This is a small m3. This is a small m6. This is small m7. So I'll call it sum of product form. So it says I'll have a 0 here and a 1 here and a 0 here and a 1 here because of that 3, and then 0, 0, 1, that is 6, and a 1 here again. So this is the sum of product form, canonical sum of product form, which is the sum of min terms. Product of max terms is also alternately called canonical product of sums form, wherein I'll use this pi for product, and 0, 2, 4, 5 means I've got zeros at these places, 0, 2, 4, 5. So obviously 1, 3, 6, 7s are you know ones, so the remaining terms will be zeros. So this will be giving you the zeros because max terms corresponds to zeros being the true value. So 1 was here, 0 was not here, so 0. 1 is already there, 2 is not there, 3 is there, 4 is not there, 5 is not there, 6, 7 are there. So I have a total of terms that are available are 8. So the same function can be written in the sum of product form or the product of sums form, canonical. I can also have non-canonical sum of product form. For example, this is sum of products. You see, this is a product, this is a product, this is a product, which means the and term. Sum of product means sum of and terms or of and terms or of and terms. So I'm calling it sum of product form. See, it is not canonical. Why? Because it doesn't have all three variables in it. It doesn't have all three variables in it. It does have all three variables, but these two do not have. So this will be the sum of product form. In case I want to convert this sum of product form into canonical sum of product form, I'll have to make use of the distributive property. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to AND this y dash with x plus x dash and also AND with z plus z dash. Why I'm doing this? Because x plus x dash is 1 and z plus z dash is 1, and anything ANDed with 1 as many times as you want will give you the same value. So y dash dot 1 dot 1, and then those two ones, they are x plus x dash and y plus y dash. Apply the the distributive property, then you will get four terms out of it, right? Four terms out of it, because you are ending it with x plus x dash two terms, z plus z dash into two terms, right? Four terms will emerge out of it. Similarly, this will also have to be converted. If this has to be converted to canonical form, so I'll have to do xy dot z plus z dash, because that is missing. So I'll have to do xyz plus. So this will give me two terms again, right? And this term will remain as it is, right? So that is how I can convert. Now there could be a few terms that are the same. For example, can I give you? Yes, x dash. Yeah, no, probably here not. But in some cases, it may happen that you've got the same terms twice. So we know x plus x is equal to x. Remember one of the rules there that we have discussed before. So I'll have to use that rule in order to cancel the duplicate product terms. I'll have to cancel the duplicate product terms. So this is the non-canonical sum of product form, which if required can be converted to canonical. Canonical form is the one in which every product term, if I'm talking about canonical SOP, in short it is SOP also, has all the variables in every product term. Similarly over here, there should be every variable in every sum term. So that will be POS form of canonical product of sums form. Similarly, product of sums form, which over here is not canonical. Why it is not canonical? Because it doesn't have every product, every sum term having all the variables. You see, w, x, y, z, it shows that there are four variables. So I'll have to have four variables in all the sum terms. So for that, I'll have to again make use of the distributive property, and I'll have to, or it. Just as over here I ended, over here I'll have to or it using the terms that are not there, right? Like w, y, z are not here, so I'll have to and it with that. Similarly here, I'll have to or it with that. Similarly, I don't have w and x here, so I'll have to bring them in. Then only this can be converted into canonical product of sums form. This is a non-standard form. Why it is a non-standard form? Because it is mixed. It is neither product of sums purely nor sum of product purely. You see that you have got two product terms and then anding again. These two product terms are combined using or, and then two more terms are there that are odd, and the entire thing is ANDed. So this is not the any of these standard forms. In case you want to convert it into a standard form, you will have to use the distributive law. What the distributive law will say? Multiply this or AND this AB with this A dash B dash. When I do this, I know that that will become 0, because anything ANDed with its complement will give you a 0. So that will be a 0. The first non-zero term that I'll get will be AB C bar D bar that I've written, right? AB C bar D bar that I've written here. Just a minute. Yes, okay. So in order to convert this into a standard form, what I'll have to do, you have to use the distributive law. So the first term that I'll get will be A B C dash D dash that I've got here. Now when I A dash B dash C D will be another non-zero term that I've given here. Now C D ANDed with C bar D bar will be 0 again, because I am ANDing a term C with its complement C bar, and also the variable D with its complement D dash. That will become 0. So it will effectively be 0 plus this plus this plus 0. So those zeros will be absorbed, because anything odd with 0 gives you x plus 0 is x only. So that is why you will get the same term. So this is the concept of min terms, max terms. You can have canonical sum of product form, which is essentially the sum of min terms, canonical product of sums, which is essentially the product of max terms, and this is the standard way to write any function, where you just have to give over here, this is capital M0, this is capital M2, this is capital M4, this is capital M5, and you are using the products of them, right? So let us talk about other functions. With two variables, x and y, how many functions in all are possible? The formula is this: 2 to the power 2 to the power n. So if two variables, then it will become 2 to the power 2 to the power 2. 2 square is 4, so 2 to the power 4. 16 different functions are possible using the, two variables x and y. Had there been three variables x, y, z, it would have been 2 to the power 2 to the power 3. 2 to the power 8, 2 to the power 3 is 8, and 2 to the power 8 will be 256, right? So the generic formula is 2 to the power 2 to the power n functions for n binary variables. Let us see what are those 16 functions when n is 2. So x, y, I know these are the possible input combinations. Now f0 will have all zeros, f1 will have 0, 0, 0, 1, f2 will be having 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, all these up till 1, 1, 1, 1, right? So these are the 16 possible different functions. Out of these, two functions that produce a constant 0 or 1, which is this one, it produces a 0, and this is this one, which produces a 1. Out of these 16 functions, 4 functions are unary operations, like complement and transfer, right? This will be complement, this will be complement, right? And these will be transfers. Right? These two will be transfers, as we can see later, right? So, and 10 functions with binary operations that define 8 different operations: and, or, NAND, NOR, exclusive or, equivalence, inhibition, and implication. So we will see all those different functions in the next slide. But let us keep in mind first this formula, 2 to the power 2 to the power n, and also how to form 16 functions for a two variable. Suppose I am taking three variables x, y, z. So this will have 8 different combinations, and for 8 combinations I'll have 0, 0, 0, 0, all zeros, then 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, then 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, so on up till 1, 1, 1, 1, 8 times. So that will be 2 to the power 8, 56 columns will be there, right? So that is how you can go on finding out the functions. In the next slide, we are going to see what these 16 functions are all about. Now here, see, f0 is 0, which is a null function, binary constant 0. f1 is xy, which is AND function. We are already familiar with this. The second function is xy bar. If you go back, you will see the second function is x y bar. Remember, this is the min term, right? I've got a 1 here. So this is basically F2 is summation 2, summation 2, right? Small m2. So this can be, small m2 will be written as xy bar. So that is why I'm getting xy bar, which is inhibition, which says x but not y. Now you can start sensing the logic. See, x but not y. Why? Because y is complement. So it is essentially x and not y. So which I can write x but not y. That is why it is called inhibition. F3 will be x, right? F3 will be x. Why will it be x? Let us see F3. It has got xy dash plus xy. So x will be common using distributive property. Inside you will have y plus y dash, and y plus y dash is 1. So x dot 1 will be x. So I can write F3 as summation 2 3, summation 2 3, which means summation small m2 and small m3, which will be simplified, right? M2 will be written as xy bar and M3 will be written as xy. When you OR them, you can take x as common. You can do it for yourself, do it in your notebooks, then you will realize. And this will be y bar plus y inside the bracket. Y bar plus y will be 1. So x dot 1 will be x. So that is why I'm saying that this is transfer x. F4 is x dash y for the similar reason, which means y but not x. This is the reverse inhibition, you can say, if you wish. F5 is y, which is transfer y. Over here it was transfer x, over here it is transfer y. Now this is called the exclusive OR function. X or y but not both. Let us go back to F6 and see. See, this is the truth table for exclusive OR. Exclusive OR means any one of them is exactly, one of them has to be 1 in order to give a 1 as the output. When both of them go 1 or both of them go 0, it remains 0. This is called exclusive OR function, which is one of the very useful functions, as we will see later, right? And then this is OR. We are already familiar with that. See, how do we get it? Let us see F7. We know this is the truth table of R. We are writing it in product of sums form. So I'll be looking for zeros, right? I'll not be looking for ones if I'm writing in terms of product of sums. So see, this will be x plus y. In the when I'm talking the writing the max term, I have to take the OR, and 0 will be the true form and 1 will be the complement. So here both of them are zeros, so that is why it will be x plus y. So this is the OR term, right? Now NOR is essentially not of OR. We'll see the symbol later. It is essentially not of OR, or an OR function followed by a NOT or an inverter. So that is why you see x plus y whole dash. Now this is equivalence function, x equals y, which is the complement of this. See, let us go back to F9. See, F9 is the complement of F6, you see, 0 1 1 0 1 0 0. So this is the complement. And why it is called equivalence function? I've written here, this is called equivalence function because it tells you about the equality. F9, it is 1 only when both of them are equal. 0 0, that is why 1. This is unequal, so a 0. Unequal, that is why a 0. And this is equal again, so a 1. So that is why this is also called exclusive NOR. This function may be called as exclusive NOR. That is an exclusive OR followed by a NOT, or it can also be called as the equivalence function because it tells you about the equality of the two given values. Then F10 is the complement function. You're already familiar with this, not y. X plus y dash is implication. If y, then x, right? If y, then x. It is denoted by this. F12 is x bar. This is another complement, but this time the complement is not x, whereas this one was not y. And this implication again, if x, then y, right? Why we are calling it implication? Because this is said to be the assumption, and this is said to be the conclusion. So if assumption is true, then the conclusion is true as well. That is how it will be taken into account. So again, implication is a very interesting function. If I go back, you can see. Okay, okay. So which one? If x then y, right? F13. Let us see F13. F13. If x then y. So you see here, yeah. So this is assumption. I'm just talking about F13. Concentrate on F13. If x then y. X is said to be the assumption and y is said to be the conclusion. If assumption is wrong, if assumption is wrong, then you know conclusion may be wrong also. So that is why you got a 1 here. If assumption is wrong but conclusion is correct, there is still a problem. So it is only when assumption is correct but conclusion is wrong, we will say that implication process is wrong. In rest of the cases, there is nothing wrong with the implication process as such. Over here also, if the assumption is correct and conclusion is correct, that means implication process is fine. There is nothing with the implication process. Okay, so let me repeat it. It is only when you have got the assumption as correct but conclusion as wrong, that there is something wrong with the assumption process. Sorry, with the implication process. Otherwise, implication process is correct, and correctness of the implication process is denoted by 1. So that is how the implication goes. Now F14 is a NAND function, which is an AND followed by a NOT, and F15 is 1, which is identity binary constant 1, because all of them are 1s. Right? So I've written here equivalence is also known as equality, coincidence, and exclusive NOR. Right? Exclusive OR followed by NOT. That is the footnote for the equivalence function. Right? So now these are the different, these are the different gates, and you are already familiar along with its truth table and its symbol, or also we have given earlier in one of the earlier lectures, and this is how it goes. This is the truth table, inverter. These three we already seen. A buffer would be simply f equal to x. So two inverters cascaded one after the other will be the buffer function. Right? You may argue that why are we putting it? Why not a straight line as such? In fact, this is meant to shape a function. Suppose it has come over a channel and that 4 volts or 5 volts, whatever, has dropped down to 3, so you pass it through a buffer, so that we reinstate it to the logic 1 value, which is 4 volts or 5 volts, whatever, right? So this is 0 0 1 1. Okay, so this is basically two inverters cascaded one after the other. This is a symbol for NAND gate. So you can see AND followed by NOT, and that is why just the NOT of it will be the truth table. You have 3 zeros, so 3 ones, 1 1 and a 0, right? NOR is again, the symbol is OR followed by the bubble of the NOT. We're not putting the entire inverter function, we're just taking the bubble of it. So that indicates that I'm inverting the OR function. So the symbol is x plus y whole dash, and its truth table will just be the complement. You see, 0, so 1 and 3 1, so that becomes 0. Exclusive OR function we've already seen. This is exclusive OR means it is 1 only when any one of them is 1. When both of them are 1 or both of them are 0, this is 0. So this is exclusive OR, and this is the symbol for exclusive OR. And how can you can write it? See, this is x dash y. So that is this is x dash y or xy dash. xy dash. and this is represented in the symbol by this. Exclusive NOR or equivalence is just the not followed by an exclusive OR followed by not. So this will be the simple, and you can see that I'm just inverting it. So this is 0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 0, and this 1 becomes 0 and 0 becomes 1. Now over here, this function exclusive NOR function is essentially summation 0 3, right, which means summation 0 and small m3. Two min terms are there. How can you write them? This is xy, this is xy, or x dash y dash. So you can see that one interesting thing you can try complementing this entire thing using De Morgan's theorem. You will get this. Similarly, try complementing this entire expression using De Morgan's theorem, and you will get this. You know, you try doing this. That will be your practice. So we will stop here for today, and if there are doubts, let me know so that we can solve it in and try to clarify it in the subsequent lectures. Thank you very much.